Hello, and welcome to Casual Shenanigans, episode 21. This is a podcast all about DayZ, Battlefield, ARMA, everything PC gaming related. I'm one of your hosts, JERMgaming. I am joined by my co-hosts, Chris.
Hello.
And Dave.
Hey folks, I am Dave, the Not So Evil Black King 13, and I am joined by my coffee.
Yes, as always, you're joined by your crack juice. Yes. So tonight we are going to start, as we always do, with the news. And so here's the news. Actually, this is some breaking news. MSI just released a GeForce GTX 780 Lightning. It lets you overclock it farther. So that's all the news as far as that's concerned.
And it looks like a usual terrible third-party graphics card. I just hate these third-party designs. Ugh.
Well, the reference designs are normally pretty good, but they don't have good cooling. So I approve of third parties trying to improve on the cards. But
yeah, to be fair, it's not ugly. It's just that I like that sleek look of the reference cards.
Yeah, they are really sleek. Yours are reference, aren't they? Your 480s were?
Yes, they both are. They're actually the 480s. Besides the massive heat pipes, I like that like large kind of blued metal style heat sink. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it did look pretty nice. Okay,
and was definitely needed.
First bit of news. NVIDIA has announced a joint partnership with Ubisoft to pretty up Watch Dogs for the PC. A recent blog post announcing the partnership didn't go into specifics. It's assumed that the improvements to the PC version of the game would include things like ambient occlusion, high-res art assets, and better anti-aliasing. No word on physics or whether these changes would be unique to NVIDIA graphics cards. There are sometimes changes made to games that are unique, like when on Tomb Raider, if you had an AMD graphics card, Lara's hair flipped around really fancy. And if you had an NVIDIA card, her hair looked like everyone else's video game hair. I don't really know if that's worth owning one card or the other, but yeah.
Decision maker right there.
So, Splinter Cell Blacklist is annoying players by refusing to launch. It is a common occurrence for games to have a few bugs upon release, but you'd think the developer would have noticed if the game wouldn't start before they released it. I'm sure that would have come up at some point during playtesting.
Is that something you guys are excited to play? Do you have any interest?
Yes, I have played every single game in the Splinter Cell series, starting back to the first one on the GameCube, and I absolutely love the Splinter Cell series. I've liked every single game, and they've gotten quite different. But what I like about Blacklist is it's taken all the really awesome stealth stuff in Chaos Theory and Pandora and Amaro, and it's added it to the really fast, fluid combat system of Conviction. The only problem with Conviction was that the really only good way to play was to sneak around in the shadows until it was time to pop out and shoot everyone in 5 seconds. And the other games really gave you a lot more options. Like you could be totally stealthy. You never had to shoot someone if you didn't want to. Like you were a stealthy guy. And Conviction really wasn't built like that at all. So this is kind of a combination of the two, and I am excited to play it when they figure it out. It's theorized that the problem has something to do with a release date check that went wrong and didn't work. Just another example of DRM making everyone's lives better. The upcoming free-to-play version of Command & Conquer will feature shorter matches than previous games in the series. Matches, instead of being an hour and a half, should be 30 to 45 minutes. It will also feature purchasable starter packs to give players who pay money a distinct advantage over players who don't. So it's now pay to win, just like most free-to-play games.
Awesome. Thanks, EA.
In other
my
news,
hate.
the Elder Scrolls Online dev team has confirmed that it will cost $15 per month to play on top of having to buy the game as normal. We think it's important to suck as much money as possible out of the diehard Elder Scrolls fans before we almost go bankrupt and then convert to free-to-play. They technically didn't say in quite so many words, but they must be thinking that. I think really they're charging $60 to get all the Elder Scrolls fans who want, Skyrim Online. And then you charge $15 a month. You figure within 2 or 3 months, a lot of people will kind of be done with it. And then in a year from now, they can go free-to-play like the Old Republic did. So you get all the people who will give you money, and then you're like, oh, we just aren't making money doing it this way, and then you go free to play and still make money. That's my theory. But that does kind of suck, because I'm not going to try it now. And if it had been a free to play game, I definitely would have. I don't know if I'd have spent any money, but I like the Elder Scrolls. So anyway, Chivalry Medieval Warfare is teaming up with the TV show Deadliest Warrior to release an expansion for the game entitled Chivalry Deadliest Warrior. This expansion will let players pick from some of the top warriors of all history and duke it out in the arena mode. The only classes that have been announced so far are Samurai and Spartans. It's assumed that more modern fighting forces won't be included, as a Spartan likely wouldn't fare well against, like, the SAS. I'm assuming it's just going to be the more hacking and slashing classes, but anyway, that's still pretty cool. Cool news from Chivalry.
That.
Not a bad idea for Chivalry, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that's
partner
Chivalry.
with a well-known franchise, and
they've really been getting more and more popular ever since the Humble Bundle that they were in. So, kudos to them.
It's so cool to see like a small game like that just has a kind of niche gameplay style really explode and just be embraced by ridiculous amounts of cheap PC gamers.
If you like cheap PC games and you like medieval type strategy games, the Humble Weekly Sale is Paradox Interactive, and you can get. Let me go read it out. I'm so prepared.
A lot of games that will keep you busy for a very long time.
Yes. Right now, the Humble Bundle is a Humble Comedy Bundle, which is something kind of new and interesting.
Some good comedians too, I've heard.
Yeah, they are. I'm actually thinking about getting it because I've been wanting to see some of those. But, the Humble Weekly Sale, you get Europa Universalis 3. Now, Europa Universalis 4 just came out, but this is not 4, this is 3. War of the Roses, the Kingmaker version. Excuse me. Warlock, Master of the Arcane, Leviathan Warships, Dungeon Land, The Showdown Effect, and then Crusader Kings 2 and Magicka. So I bought it really just for Crusader Kings 2, but if you pay $125 or more, you unlock 48 Paradox Interactive games, including all
of their games.
Yes, and actually they make a lot more than I knew. Like they've got a lot of stuff in here.
Yeah, that was quite a list.
They appear to be a definitely mid-tier developer, but a mid-tier developer with a big resume. So yeah, that's available if you like stuff like that. And actually, I don't know if this is the proper place to be hurrying myself out here, but I have so many stinking game codes to give away because of all these stupid bundles.
First world problems right there.
Oh, darn.
I know. No, let me just read. These are the list of games I haven't given out yet. Tiny and Big and Grandpa's Leftovers. I have no idea what that game is.
English Country Wait, is that an actual thing?
Yes.
What was that?
Tiny and Big in Grandpa's Leftovers. That's a game.
Okay.
English Country Tune, Intrusion 2, Serious Sam HD. I have 2 copies of that. Serious Sam The Random Encounter, Serious Sam 2, Serious Sam 3 Deluxe. 2 copies of Mirror's Edge. 2 copies of Dead Space. 2 copies of Crisis 2 Max Edition. Command and Conquer, Red Alert Uprising, Red Alert 3 Uprising, Warlock, Dungeon Land, Leviathan Warships, The Showdown Effect, Europa Universalis 3, and then on Origin I have Battlefield 3, Mirror's Edge, and Populous.
Nice.
So, people who are listening, if you want one of those games, I don't know, tweet at me or something. I need to start giving them away because they're piling up pretty quickly. And I got them in bundles where I was like, hey, for $2, I could get this game or nothing, and anyway.
On the note of giveaways, I have a minor confession.
Oh, do you?
I've been holding on to a $5 copy of the newest Stalker, Call of Pripyat, on my Steam account for like a year now. I think it was from the summer sale 2012. I've been planning on doing a Stalker video for a while just to give away the code. And recently I went to try that new Misery mod for Stalker.
Uh-huh.
And I realized that my copy of Call of Pripyat was like the disc collector's bundle from Target. And I couldn't find my disc on my shelf. So I looked around and then lazily added my gift code to my own account so I could install it on Steam. I felt a little bad, but boy was it convenient.
It's the right type of lazy.
So yeah.
Yep.
Which, by the way, the mod is amazing. I died 3 times within 2 minutes of spawning into the game for the first time.
So what does the Misery mod do?
It makes the already super hardcore Stalker series even more hardcore.
In what way? That game was really hard.
As I said, I spawned in a fog bank at the edge of the map, and basically, because of the A-Life system, where the mutants and animals actually are like dynamically spawned and move around the map, and like the factions dynamically spawn and move around the map, I basically got 3 really bad spawns where I would end up in the middle of like a pack of mutants, just bad luck, and that's just, you die. That's just how it is. Life in the zone sucks. And it also adds, I think, a ridiculous amount of things to the loot tables, as in like 6 different kinds of like cigarettes in the trash loot, just because.
Just okay. That seems like a weird thing to have a lot of different variants of, but
Hey, if you want some serious loot, Stalker Misery mod is where it's at.
alrighty. Yeah, I think in my Steam inventory I've got Oregon Trail, Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition, and ARMA 2 Operation Arrowhead.
Ooh,
All stuff I picked up in sales that I need
nice.
to give out to somebody. Anyway, the meandering has definitely reached a zenith here.
Going back briefly to The Elder Scrolls Online, Joel's not here, so I can't rub it like right in his face. But I've been saying ever since they announced it that it's going to be a like monthly subscription, and he's been. How do I describe
I know exactly
it?
why they're doing it, for the same reason Star Wars did. You grab everybody first, and then I mean you make $30 million out of the gate, and then when you go bankrupt, you just get the money trickling in for the next 30 years.
The level of optimism that I have for DayZ standalone is what Joel had for the lack of monthly payments for Elder Scrolls Online.
Well, that's just silly.
For once, I'm right. I'm pretty sad to see it though.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Do you ever like see tabs open in your browser and you're like, when on earth did I have that open?
Yeah, on average, I have 3 browsers going across 2 screens with tabs in each window.
Same here. I've got because I have different Google accounts. I have to keep signed in on different browsers. You know?
Exactly.
It's important.
Jeremiah, you get me.
I do. I do get you.
Joel just mocks my tab obsession.
Anyway.
Back to the podcast.
So does Chris, apparently.
Oh, look, there go all the viewers. So, let's talk about DayZ briefly. And actually, Dave, I'm going to let you lead this because we didn't have any DayZ news planned, but then you came across a very interesting article.
Yeah, before DayZ, I just saw that EA just confirmed, like on Twitter 2 minutes ago, that Battlefield 4 is going to be at PAX, which is like awesome. So hopefully Dasgro and Mantis will have some good stuff for us.
Actually, I think Mantis tweeted something just a couple hours ago that he like was rendering out he was rendering out a bunch of Gamescom. Someone was
Oh, nice.
Someone no, not Mantis.
That was Jack Frags.
That was Jack Frags. Never mind.
Which I want to see that too, because his footage was great. It's nice to see a player that can actually get kills, like on the floor of a trade show. Congratulations.
I mean, I wouldn't. I'd be just going like, this mouse is wrong. I don't like this keyboard.
Oh yeah,
Everyone's
definitely. I'm
staring
sure.
at me. Like,
I'm sure I'd do the same
corner,
thing.
shooting the wall, going.
I'm actually not sure how Jack Frags pulled it off, but his footage was great. It was the best out of
I remember watching that.
group.
That was good. So, DayZ.
Back to DayZ.
Yes.
Wired actually released an article. I believe it was Wednesday.
With a very soulful picture of Dean.
A very emotional, soulful picture.
Just
you guys
in this abandoned
Google
house, guys. Just standing in this abandoned house by the window with all my feelings.
DayZ gives me so many feels, guys. So many
What I
feels.
want to know is, why aren't you developing DayZ, Dean? You got time to pose in a house.
Don't give people
Sorry.
ideas.
I'm
'cause
sorry.
That's the next tweet coming his way right now. How dare you pose for a picture? Anyway, if you guys Google Dean Hall Wired article, it is a really great read. It actually details his military experience and how a 20-day wilderness survival experience actually directly inspired his idea for DayZ, and how he lost 44 pounds over 20 days while surviving with other members of his military group just out in the wilderness trying to get food and water. And hey, it sounds an awful lot like DayZ. There's a great point in the story where he was low on food. I think it was about halfway into the 20 days and wasn't able to keep preparing his own food and finding his own food. He got so hungry, he actually had the idea to basically turn bandit. And he started stalking one of the other military guys out there in the hopes of stealing some of his prepared food off of him. Well, the guy actually caught Dean like sneaking up on him, and in, I guess, just pity, gave him some ramen noodles or something. those kind of experiences directly inspired at least a base version of DayZ. His original concept actually had no zombies at all. And right now, where you have so many people complaining about the kill on sight mentality in DayZ, and how, like, why can't we all just, like, fight zombies together and just hold hands? Like, it's really neat to see that the original idea was actually just player versus player. It's pretty neat to see. And even besides losing the 44 pounds, he had to have emergency surgery after that experience because of intestinal problems from all the weird stuff he had to eat over the 20 days. You guys hadn't actually read this article yet, had you?
I just read it now.
Were you just reading it, like, right this second?
Yeah, I just finished reading it. It's very interesting. Now, so one of the main points of the article is he originally designed the game, it sounds like, to be a game where players are pitted against each other. And the zombies were kind of added just to add, like, an extra level of something to the world, which is interesting because the way people play DayZ really is player versus player most of the time. It's not player versus zombies. But I think why DayZ fails at being player versus player is that there is no downside to just shooting everybody. Like, you don't need you don't need to cooperate to survive. You're actually far better off most of the time. Like, if you have one partner, that's pretty good, just someone to, like, patch you up if you break your legs or whatever. But other than that, like, what's the advantage of playing with other people? I mean, there isn't really. If you're a lone wolf type, like, you don't need other people to live through a town or to get supplies or something. You get all the best loot yourself if you just shoot everybody as soon as you see them. So in that sense, I would say DayZ was not successful as far as his original vision, but as a zombie survival simulator, it obviously was very engaging. I mean, we've put enough time into it. But I would actually like to see him get more, and we've said this a million times before, but I'd like to see him get more back to that on the DayZ standalone, figuring out ways to make it good for people to work together, because if it was actually designed so that people, like, there was real incentives for people working together instead of just murdering each other, the game would be fascinating. And as of right now, it really is just a deathmatch. I mean, we were playing Overwatch the other day. I was in Electro. I just spawned. I'd gotten hit by a zombie. I was bleeding. Like, I had nothing, and I went into the hospital to grab some blood, and this guy in full Special Forces outfit, like, he had the Special Forces helmet and the full camo and everything, and a carbine, just wanders around the wall and just stares at me. And I was like, hi, sorry, I'm friendly. I just spawned. I've got nothing. And he just stared at me for a second and then shot me in the head and left. Like, he didn't need anything off my body. Like, he just shot me. Like, that was it. Just, oh, well, I see you.
You can't even call that, like, the thrill of the hunt either, because you were just totally defenseless.
Yeah, I was
defenseless. Well, you still presented a risk, usually.
I guess, but not much.
I mean, that's why I shoot people, is because they present a risk to me, and, you know, you really can't do much about that just because you can't trust them. So it's avoidance or engagement.
Well, yeah. How about this one? When Joel and I were playing a few days ago, Joel was on the coast at Komarovo, and he got attacked by a new spawn with a 1911 who broke his legs. And then while Joel was trying to crawl back to, like, a spawn area to look for morphine, a sniper up on a mountain started trying to snipe him as he crawled towards morphine. And I actually rescued Joel with a bike. And I don't want to spoil the upcoming video, but basically that sniper ended up chasing us for like a half an hour trying to finish Joel off. Just because.
Right, and that's... Like, there needs to be something built into the game where, like, if you want to engage people, you can. If you want to steal people's food, you can. But there's a disadvantage. Like, there needs to be... There's, like, no repercussions.
Do I have some good news for you?
All right.
So the original concept, like we already mentioned right here, was just the player versus player, and kind of like player versus environment. You fight the hunger, the sickness, and kind of like yourself. And we're going to see more of that in standalone, where the looting, the starvation, the sickness, the medication... That's going to be purifying your water. All that stuff's going to be more important. And there's going to be more incentive to work together, because D wants to make it so that some of the stuff that you need, because of the amount of diseases and the amount of things you need for crafting and all, you won't be able to loot it all yourself. You will need to trade. And in addition, if you do banditry where you just shoot on sight, items are now going to be damaged with localized damage on the person's body. So if you see that player off at the distance and you're like, I need some I don't know, some med kits with some blood bags in them, and you gun him down, well, you just filled his backpack full of holes. That med pack is now like 75% damaged, and most of those blood bags are useless. Mm-hmm. So you have incentive to actually encounter the player, maybe hold him at gunpoint, maybe like handcuff him or zip tie him, steal stuff out of his backpack, and then probably kill him, I guess. But at least there's an incentive to have more interaction versus just instantly killing with rapid hit fire and just taking people out.
Yeah, but still, like, that doesn't solve the problem of, like, the guy who saw me in the hospital and just killed me out of boredom or just because he liked shooting people.
Right.
Like, there's no, like, what if, and, we've talked about the zombie AI. I feel like we're probably retreading ground we've talked about too many times before, but, like, what if you shot your gun and every single zombie in the town comes running for you? Like, if you shoot a gun, it's a big stinking deal.
Yeah.
That would at least mean in towns, people wouldn't have an incentive to kill you. People would have an incentive to hide and only engage if you're convinced that you have enough power to fight through it. And that would mean people who are looting stuff, like if you open fire, you're doing it because you feel like it's your last shot to get out of town. Because, right, the game makes psychopaths out of normal, well-adjusted people. I mean, would you agree?
It makes Joel even worse. I think so. I mean, look at our Breaking Bad series where, with just the intentions of being bad, we just had way too much fun doing it.
Now, that was, to qualify it, because it might sound like I'm complaining a lot when we go around and killing people all the time. That was a server that had vehicles and guns laying absolutely everywhere. That was pretty much a deathmatch server that we were on. We don't play like that in normal DayZ because there's too much risk. Like, if you die, it's a big deal because, it's a lot of frustration. But yeah, in the Breaking Bad series, we were just pretty much were psychopaths, and it was fun. And that's, I guess, the problem is if people feel like there's no repercussions, then sure, why not kill people? What's the big deal? But
I think the key is going to be to just provide more incentive to work together. Maybe have goals like adding a generator to a town where you can bring the lights back on, but you have to do it together. That's way too
complicated of a goal. It needs to be like this is a goal we're doing like right now to live. Like, one button press.
Well, I think.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think the original DayZ, when things were more rare and when things were harsher and when people hadn't figured everything out, was that way. The goal was get a tent, establish a base, get it hidden, get a vehicle. But as that became more prevalent and people became more well adjusted to that, the only things beyond that are, all right, let's get in, have fun, screw around, and go attack the Northwest Airfield and get everybody killed.
That's a good point, Chris. I think a big part of it was everyone learned how to game the game. Once you figured out the system, you had a methodology to follow, and you didn't need anyone else's help. And
that's true. We do that.
And other people were just a means to an end. Like, oh, I can use this person to like jumpstart my progress down this invisible tech tree.
And and it went from the game being surviving from the elements and from the environment to, surviving off of the other people.
Yeah, at the expense of the other players, like to make it easier. And I think in standalone, a lot of people are worried about the complications, all this new stuff that's being added with all the diseases, but I think anything that kind of obscures an easy path to advance in the game is a good thing. Anything that makes it harder and to make you think twice about just taking risks is definitely a good thing.
Yeah, better zombies will do that. I think trading will throw an interesting dynamic where, there are more than A or B, flee or fight. It's, I mean, it may not be game changing, but it's at least pause to say, hey, you got anything, I'm looking for, I really need a bandage, even if it's a full health player and he's got all kinds of gear. If he sees somebody like you in the hospital, he'd like, hey, did you find any bandages? Like, I'll help, I'll give you morphine if you got a bandage. Like, that just adds one more possible scenario to the situation.
A real trading system could potentially work. I'm guessing it's going to be where both parties have to like accept the proposed trade. Is that what they've talked about?
I haven't heard about an actual trading
there isn't
menu.
an actual trading system.
Not that I've heard, no.
Oh, okay. That would be nice.
There was.
I thought I'd heard something about it. I could be wrong.
Did I miss DayZ news? What?
I'm pretty sure there is.
Google.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of some of the inspiration of DayZ. and its initial
really good article.
ideas. Yeah, you guys need to just Google Dean Hall Daisy Wired article.
It makes
excellent.
the New Zealand Army sound cool. He requested a discharge from the military, and they were like, "Cool, yeah, you want to go make video games? That sounds fine. Go ahead, move to the Czech Republic, make video games."
I don't know. It sounds pretty brutal to me. Like that was
brutal.
serious hardcore
But I'm saying
survival stuff.
But it's an army that you can apparently request, like, "Hey guys, the army was cool. You mind if I just bounce?" And they're like,
it's like,
"No,
I know
it's
you
good."
trained me for 3 years, but
Oh, let's be honest. What conflicts is New Zealand involved in? They're like, "Yeah, we're not gonna need you."
Fighting off all the Lord of the Rings fans.
Yeah.
So
I totally forgot what I was going to say. Nice.
cool.
More coffee.
Yeah. All right. ARMA 3. So if you're on the dev branch of ARMA 3, then you're very used to everything breaking and crashing and not working all of the time.
An extra amount.
Yes, but also, then you are probably playing Altis. Altis is the giant island, the main island for ARMA 3. I guess it's the Chernarus to ARMA 2's Utes. I don't know if, like, ARMA 2 had Utes and then Chernarus, and this is, Altis is
Exactly.
like Chernarus, and Stratus was like Utes.
But
Whatever.
bigger and prettier.
Well, so that's what I want to talk about. So we went for a tour of Altis, and it's big. Like, I can't stress how big this thing is. There's a map going around online comparing the size of it to, like, the Skyrim maps and Battlefield maps. The only game map that we know of that's bigger, a non-loading screen game map, like, I'm sure World of Warcraft's map is bigger, but the only map that's bigger is Just Cause 2, and it's got a lot of water. It has a lot more water. So this is probably the most landmass of any one game instance, I think. I mean, it's absolutely massive, and it actually runs decently well. Like, the frame rate drops.
Well, depends. I found out that the time of day that we did our mission kind of had the view distance naturally limited by a little fog and environmental elements.
Oh, really?
Strip
Okay.
that away and go out for a cruise at 12 o'clock. Yeah, I was getting like 12 in a chopper, 12 frames per second.
Oh, no.
And that's
not
when
good.
the night before I was running at about 60 and the view distance was still high. So
I
I
wonder-
dropped it down. I'm managing about 40 now.
That could be a dev branch thing, too. The dev branch has been
Possibly.
all over the place with performance, so I wouldn't worry yet. But I find it interesting that your frame rate plummets when you get into a town, but there's no people in there. Like, it's just the number of objects, I guess.
I think so, yeah.
Actually, that's so. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself. So the map is, I would say, it's mostly like gently rolling farmland and countryside. Would you guys agree?
No.
No. All right.
I mean, yes.
I wouldn't say mostly, maybe half is farmland. There's
Okay.
a lot of mountains and coastal areas.
Well, but the mountains and coastal areas, they're similar type things. Like, it's there's no massive mountains. There's no desert. There's a salt flat, which is really depressing.
There's some pretty massive mountains.
Eh.
I mean, some really good
They're
size
not
ones.
mountains if we're talking like Rockies or Appalachians.
True.
That's true. I guess I don't know what Greece
mountains in
Greek mountains
Greece,
look like.
but
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
not.
that's true. I don't know what the area is supposed to look like.
They're
Compared to
hills.
previous
the
ARMA
maximum
games.
elevation is about
Yeah,
350 meters.
It doesn't feel like some of the mountains in Chernarus as far as like steepness and stuff, and maybe I just haven't seen the right ones. I've seen very little of the map up close. Like, we did a big flying tour of most of it, but that doesn't show you, all of the nuance and stuff. And I mean, one of the cities, Kavala, we flew over it, but then we did a mission in it the other night, and like, there's so much going on in Kavala, or so many different things in Kavala that you'd never notice from the air. So I'm sure we're going to be discovering cool little areas and things for years if we're still playing. But so my thing that I wasn't all sure about, what's this thing you just dropped in chat, Dave?
I didn't want to distract us yet. Keep going.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
So my thing about the map is, to me, it kind of feels like they had a map that was like smaller than that. And they're like, no, but the island's actually this big. We need to stretch it out. And then they just added like a lot of filler space. And
I think you're actually off base on that one because
I know
too.
you guys disagree. Tell me why I'm wrong. I want to hear your opinions.
the way that they create maps in the ARMA series is they start with source satellite photography and create basically a 1-to-1 ratio replication of the area. So what you're seeing, there's some photos, and let me see if I can find some of them of comparisons of different areas, and it's really eerie with the lighting in Arma 3. Some of these areas, like you go up on the mountain and look down and compare it to the photo, and they nailed it. It's like just like real life.
Yeah. Not only that, but like if you've flown around in a small plane in real life, everything flattens out and looks real boring real quick. But I mean, I did a mission the other day where it was a chopper mission still, but I would get out at various points, landed at different airfields, and attacked a convoy. And it is just so beautiful, and I was amazed actually at the difference in terrain between one side of the island and the other.
So you think I'm judging it too quickly because I'm seeing it from the air?
And for a physical place that's really a representation, not of like Skyrim, which is, extremes for the sake of pretty. This is pretty in its own way because it has a realistic feel that you don't get anywhere else.
Here we go. I got a link for you guys right here. This is an entire gallery of comparison images. Just click through some of these, Jeremiah. It's pretty stunning.
Are we going to have a link for this for our viewers?
I'll post it in the comment on the video.
Yeah.
Right now.
I'll post it in the description too for the final render.
Comments can't contain links. I will not post it as a comment in the video. I should have known that. Yeah, I'll put it in the description. Yeah, I did see these earlier, and so what I will say positive about this is, like, I was criticizing it for being maybe a little boring. It does have a good aspect of boring to it, like it just feels normal. Where Skyrim, you definitely can tell everything is supposed to be this fantastical land and everything.
I think your complaint might actually just be that this area of Greece is just not that exciting of a terrain.
Possibly. But now actually here's one of my here's my main complaint that I hadn't gotten around to yet. The world, it feels empty because there's nobody in it. You fly over these giant towns that are abandoned. Like, what if, and I'm just thinking with the AI that Bohemia uses, this would murder your frame rates. But what if there was like some civilian population thing you could add to a town where it just populates the town with NPCs, stupid NPCs that don't do a whole lot, but just so like you're doing
they
this
get in your way.
Well, yeah, it would just feel so much better if like you're going to assault a town and there are people there and cars and like it looks like something's going on, like Grand Theft Auto.
That's a great point, because that mission we tried in Arma 2 on I totally forgot the name of the desert map, where the mission maker had actually Zargabad. Well, that was the town.
Oh, you're asking for the name of the mission. The Sharp Edge, the one where we killed like 120 people?
No, the Arrowhead map. I totally forgot the name of it.
Yeah, that was
the desert map. Anyway.
that was Zargabad, the Sharp Edge. That was the one where you killed everybody in Zargabad.
Right, but like Chernarus was in Arma 2, I can't remember the name of the map in
Takistan?
Takistan, there we go. That took way too long to work through.
Sorry, you want the name of the whole... Okay, I was thinking the name of the town, wasn't I?
But the mission creator had gone in and added tons of civilians, and that really changed the feel of the missions. Like you're fighting through the city, and you see somebody like run by in your peripheral vision. You aim down sights real quick, and oh crap, it's a civilian! Like, don't shoot, or in Joel's case, fire away.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Jeremiah, and I completely agree with you. It does feel like an empty world, but that comes down to the mission creation. In even the Arma 2 missions, there was frequently, not in all the big towns, but in some of the missions where it opens up more, they do have civilian populations, and that's in the campaign. It'll be interesting to see as Bohemia rolls out the campaign how much they bring the world to life. I think that will really transform it. And like to your point exactly, the other night when I created that helicopter mission for myself, I actually did like spend an extra 20 minutes populating airfields and like some other random stuff going on just because I wanted to be flying over and like seeing other stuff. So like I put cars in the airport parking lot and random stuff like that just to build out the world a little. But so I think that would make like if the rolling farmland, if you're rolling past a farm and like people are working there and stuff, like that would make it feel more like it's not just this giant empty zone, because right now it just feels like a big empty sandbox, and
whereas it is.
It is, but using like Grand Theft Auto, to many people, the hallmark or like the gold standard of sandbox gaming, there's just stuff going on everywhere, like all the time. There's always something going on. And that just, I mean, they're not Grand Theft Auto and ARMA 3 are totally different types of games, but it is it's a cool thing. Like to just, you're in a bustling, busy world. You've got your own stuff going on. I don't know.
You know, it would almost be really neat if some mission makers would create some scripts that you could copy and paste where they create like a module of civilian stuff in a town where if you're doing a mission for that town, just go ahead and copy and paste like a whole civilian set before you started working on your mission just for that town area. That might be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that would solve the problem so well. I mean, it would save time and on the mission
Hear that,
creator
mission
part.
Creators? Hear that? make a module.
You have your orders. Go for
Smart
it.
scripters. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you could,
People
and
who
then
actually
just
know what they're doing.
and they wouldn't have to do a lot. Just people who, like, some of them are at home, some of them are walking around the streets. Like, it doesn't have to be a ton, but just a couple cars driving around. I mean, that goes a long way, because we were in that giant town and nothing was going on.
Which is, it was kind of eerie because the town itself felt so real. All those small alleyways, all the enterable buildings. Oh, it felt like an actual place, just where everyone had run away at the sound of gunfire.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Everyone had left the town immediately, which is kind of I mean,
Last
also,
bus pulled out right before we got there.
and this is probably a little too much complaining. I don't think video games are here yet, but the buildings also don't really have like anything in them. I think we just lost Dave from the call. I'll see if he rejoins us.
And he's back.
Hey, you're back.
My tab closed.
Wrong button.
But yeah, all I was saying was I think it would be cool if the buildings had more stuff in them too. Like you kick open the door to some big office building, it's not just like an empty floor.
I mean, the thing you have to remember, I'll just put this out there one more time, is that what they've given us to play around with so far is the editor.
Right.
So it's all on us to add that stuff, and they give us all those tools. It's kind of a blank slate to say, hey, here, go play around.
And there are, like, we've been playing some really awesome ARMA 2 missions that people put a lot of work into.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that people are going to do awesome stuff with this. I'm just kind of voicing, like, as the game's releasing now, it feels like, yeah, really what we're getting is the editor and the potential for the community to make good stuff out of it. And it doesn't... Bohemia,
and I'm really excited about that.
I am. I'm excited for when people, like, when the game releases, I'm going to give it like a week or two, and then I'm going to go download the highest rated weapons packs to add like 30 more weapons in.
Nice.
And more character skins and stuff, and I'll have to let you guys know the weapon packs. You guys can add them in too, so we all have the same stuff. But yeah, I'm planning on doing all that. Like, I'm really looking forward to the game coming out. So I don't want to sound like I'm not. It's just, you know, it's not blowing me away. I'm really excited, but it doesn't feel like the next generation of simulation or anything.
I've actually got a separate bone to pick, I think. I think, for me, the map is mind-blowing for me. Like, maybe it's just because I'm an environment artist by trade. Like, I'm just amazed by it. It's incredible, and I can't imagine the amount of work that went into it. I'm actually a bit saddened by the lack of content as far as, like, weapons and vehicles go.
I am too.
Just in comparison to ARMA 2. Now, don't get me wrong, the quality of it compared to ARMA 2 is a whole different level. Like, all these guns and vehicles finally look consistent and very, very nice and current gen, maybe even next gen, I'd say. It's just that there are less of them, and I get why that happened, but it's still kind of sad to see.
Yeah, and, you know, we're kind of artificially remembering more numbers.
Because we're after all the ARMA 2 expansions right now.
Well, we have all the ARMA 2 expansions, and in ARMA 2, if you had a different scope, that was an entirely different gun. Yep. And in ARMA 3, there's a bunch of different scopes and like attachments and stuff. Well, not a bunch of different ones, but there's a couple different attachments and things you can add to each gun, which effectively extends the amount of guns. Like, there probably is about the same number of guns as was in the ARMA 2 base game. But it's still... You know, why aren't there like more vehicles? Like, there definitely aren't as many vehicles as there were. There's like a pickup truck.
You know what it is for me? Not so much like the military weapons that are missing. I think for me, it's the old tech stuff that's missing, like the Lee Enfields and the technicals with the 50 cals in the back, like that low tech stuff. Mm-hmm. That's some of my favorite like missions to do is when you're fighting like a low-tech faction in Arma 2, because that's what a lot of modern military conflicts are like.
Your favorite thing to do is to fight the poor people.
Makes me feel like a man.
It's so nice when you're just shooting the poors and all they have is a spoon and an axe to attack you with, and you're like, and you mow them down.
As you invade their homeland.
Those are the best missions, you're right.
There was a wide variety of stuff like that in Arma 2. So maybe the first weapons pack that we'll see will be like a cool older weapon stuff, because Arma 3 is set in the future, but right now it's all futuristic stuff.
Right.
Yep. Well, that's interesting too. I mean, the point that you bring that up, in a lot of the military shooters we're used to being the faction with the edge in technology. But Op4 in Arma 3 is as technologically advanced as Blue 4, which is kind of weird. I was looking at the player models the other day, and like the Op4 uniforms and vehicles look even way more futuristic than Blue 4, which is just different. I mean, would you guys agree? Like,
it is different. Yeah, like the Ifrit and stuff. The Ifrit looks way more advanced than the Hunter.
Even just their uniforms, like it's.
Yeah, it's a change. It's a big change.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm imagining that not just with All in Arma, but someone's just going to do a straight port of most of the Arma 2 content into Arma 3.
I wonder if that's something like the developers are working on. Like a couple of them are like, "Oh man, we need to get some of these great legacy guns in," and like the guy's like, not priority now. The community will do it."
That was the cool part about the DayZ mod for Arma 3 was that the modders have the ability to do CD key checks, and basically it checks to make sure you actually own a copy of Arma 2, and then it's like, okay, here's all your Arma 2 content in Arma 3, bam. And so Bohemia can actually give that a thumbs up because it's secure, it's protecting their rights, but we still have all this awesome stuff from the old game. Like that's pretty awesome.
Right, and yeah, the Arma 3 DayZ mod is decent. It's got plenty of problems because all the content isn't working right, and Arma 3 isn't even released yet. But but it's a cool idea.
That's a good point. Like, I can't believe it's functional at all. Like an unfinished mod
actually,
for an unfinished game.
The beta is decently stable. Most of the stuff that breaks in the beta is when they release a patch. A lot of the custom missions stop working.
Yeah.
Just they go through and rename all the stuff again.
Yes. But you'd think they would install, well, it's probably a lot of work. Make like a converter to convert, to convert your missions, but that's probably too much work.
Yeah.
They can probably just say, "Hey, look, we haven't even released the game yet. Stop, guys. Just chill."
Good things are coming either way.
Good things are definitely coming, and I'm glad that we went back and started playing some Arma 2 custom missions, because that really made me excited, because, Arma 3 custom missions, we were getting kind of old because they was on one tiny little map, and they were
a lot
getting
more
old.
very similar.
Yeah, but Arma 2, we've played some really awesome stuff in Arma 2 so far. Most of it in Takistan, interestingly. But,
that's a good point, yeah.
I've got
Chernarus is my favorite map, but
we just need to branch out. I've got Chernarus ones to play, but anyway, we play one tonight if you want to. But yeah, it's I'm excited. I'm excited to see when people really get their hands on it. I'm excited to see what the next expansion is going to be. It's probably going to be 2 years before we see that, though. Unless they do a bunch of smaller expansions and a big one.
They have confirmed content packs coming for free. Weapons packs, mission packs, that kind of thing. So that's exciting.
Well, a free weapons pack, I'm betting, is going to be all of the Arma 2 weapons.
I am more than okay with that.
Because honestly, the models are still really good. I mean, if they could probably open up their original art files and then just save less compressed versions of the textures, and then
except for the 1911, throw that thing out.
Now, all right, 3D artists, both of you, correct me if I'm wrong. Would they have a high poly master version of the guns and then a low poly version to stick in the game, or do you make only the low poly and keep that?
You make both.
So they probably have high poly masters. They could go back and just re-export isn't the right word, but you know what I mean.
Hundreds of guns, small staff, retexturing everything. Yeah, overnight.
No. Keep the textures and everything. I'm saying just if they have the original uncompressed art files, just save
you still
less
got to go through the
versions.
whole process again, though. I mean,
you do, but it's something like, could one guy do one gun a day?
Maybe if he was very, very familiar with them. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's possible.
if you were the guy working on the Arma 2 guns, could you do an Arma 3, part 1 to Arma 3 each day if you had all the high-res stuff to work from? I'm just saying it's not necessarily that hard to do.
If you could pull the original artist, that would be even faster, where he's like familiar with his own work and his workflow and all.
But
like,
there's probably only like 1 or 2 guys there that, are the guys that do the weapons.
That's true.
I don't know how big their staff is, but I know it's not large. It's not, Battlefield.
Yeah, they have accomplished a ton for such a small staff.
As far as textures go, usually you create your textures at like 2 or 4 times the resolution you want for the final game. So that's just a matter of going back to your source files and re-exporting. That's pretty easy.
That's what I thought. I mean, that's what I do with all my big design stuff, even if I'm only going to be using it.
Yeah.
Like, say I'm only going to be using it at web resolution. I know a year from now, someone's going to come back and be like, hey, we'd like to print a poster out of this. Can I just take that slide you sent me and blow it up to 4 feet wide? I'm like, no!
Can I get this slide on like a billboard size, or maybe a bus, actually?
So I always save stuff at like 8K resolution if I have the high enough res art assets to start with, and I'm like, just one day they'll need it. They'll thank me.
And his hard drive cries.
No. I've got 4 2 terabyte drives in my work computer. The power.
Nice.
And I actually just now I have a 240 gig or 256 gig, whatever size it is, like 256 gig Samsung SSD on the way. I'm excited about. My OCZ Agility 3 is going to get retired to either a recording drive or a storing my bridge cache on it or something. I don't know. I'm going to use it for something.
Speaking of high-res textures, I recently started playing Dishonored for the first time on PC.
Oh, what do you think about that?
I love the style, but man, the textures are from 2004. I was so disappointed.
The textures are pretty bad. Yeah.
You go into the graphics settings, and your options are anti-aliasing, okay, or slightly better. You have an option for field of view, and that is it. It's a complete console port. The art style is beautiful, but the textures really do feel several generations old.
You can tell they're shooting for 720.
Well, honestly, it's not any worse than Borderlands.
Borderlands style helps.
Yeah, Borderlands doesn't matter.
Borderlands
is about dancing with guns.
Style is kind of close to that, though. I mean, it's...
But Dishonored's textures are definitely lower res than Borderlands 2. Noticeably lower res. But yeah, the game itself is actually a lot of fun. I might actually crank the difficulty up because I just finished playing Last of Us on the PlayStation, which was a lot of fun.
Oh, but yeah, what'd you think about that?
I loved it, minus a glitch where somehow I managed to break a PlayStation game, and I turned the corner in one of the sewer levels, and in a doorway that was supposed to load the next part of the level, it was just the skybox, like blank infinity, and I replayed that section 3 times on 2 different saves, and was able to replicate the same bug every time, and finally had to load one of Joel's saves, like from the next level to keep going, but I did it. Overall, the game was great, yeah.
Yeah, I can't talk about too many...
Yeah, can't talk about too much from it.
Yeah, but awesome game.
I was just gonna say that as far as difficulty goes, like I'm not great with the controller. I got better as I played, but the combat was pretty intense. And then I moved to Dishonored on PC, where I'm like right there with my mouse and keyboard right up next to the screen. And I'm playing on normal, and I was just massacring everybody like so easily, just having more control and more experience with it. So I might crank it up.
Hey, Joel's in the comments.
He's in the comments.
Yeah, of the video.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
He says he's coming. I did send him an invite. Well, if he's coming, it's just in time to do his 90 seconds while we wrap down. While we're waiting for Joel to maybe hop in, something that we were just talking about before the podcast is we've been playing a lot more ARMA. But something we have not been doing is playing ARMA with a large amount of people. The most people we ever really have when we play ARMA is 4 people. On a big night, maybe we'll have 5. But
I think we've had 6 before. But
I think we've had 6 like
really...
once. But most of the time, 4 is pretty normal.
Yep.
You know?
We can't fill a squad.
Yeah. So we want to play some of the bigger missions because there's a lot of really big stuff for ARMA 2 and Operation Arrowhead, and there will be big stuff for ARMA 3. But we need more people. So if you own ARMA 2 and or ARMA 3, and you would be interested...
ARMA 3 specifically as we move into release.
ARMA 3 specifically as we move into it, but until like it officially releases and there's some good missions, we have loads of ARMA 2 missions we could play, while ARMA 3 is getting off the ground. Because if we're playing with people, I don't want to play missions that are going to break constantly, which is a lot of the ARMA 3 stuff we've seen. But I'm sure within a month or so, we're going to have some really good stuff for it.
Or the AI can 360 no-scope you from 1,000 meters away, night vision.
But yeah, so if you'd be interested in playing ARMA with us, then tweet at us, leave a comment on one of these videos. Let us know. And we're just trying to gauge the amount of interest, and we probably have to tweet out because this is kind of late in the podcast. A lot of people probably won't have listened this far.
Everyone's asleep at this point.
Yeah. So, we'll ask people. We're asking you now. Let us know if that's something you'd be interested in doing, and maybe we'll pick out a couple missions so we can have an ARMA night where everybody hops on.
Nice.
And if you follow JERMgaming or Evil Vikings channel, you kind of know the style we play, and often we will a lot of those are custom built missions by us.
Yes.
And I think often we'd like to go bigger in scale, but that would mean having people to play with, and we'd love to have some of you guys join us if we had people out there.
Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of joining us,
Hey Joel.
Hey Joel.
What's up, guys?
You recording?
Hey guys.
Did you not see my comments? I was
did.
commenting.
I
I was
replied.
creeping.
Jeremiah's like, Joel's in the comments on the video. I'm like, what?
Hey guys.
What's he doing out there?
Are you recording, Joel?
Yeah, I already am.
Okay. All right. Well, you are just in time because we've gone through every single one of our topics, and now it is time for 90 Seconds with Joel. It's part of the podcast where Joel talks about whatever he wants for 90 seconds. Joel,
On the spot.
do you need any preparation, or can I just throw you straight into it?
Yeah, sure.
That's a nice look you're giving me.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, there is no Half-Life 3 announcement.
The fallback.
I freaking hate people. Oh my gosh. No, actually, since Dave just beat Last of Us, I'm just like the carrier of goodwill. Dave gave me the PS3, and then I immediately drove it over to Ben's house, and now he has the game. And I'm forcing him to play through the game because I think all should play Last of Us. And
Chris is supposed to let me know when he wants me to mail him the PlayStation.
Yep.
Unless you found somebody up there with the PlayStation you can borrow.
No, I still want it. It's just a matter of finding time to play it.
It's well worth it.
I'm sure.
Well,
Skinner,
sorry, go ahead.
are you going to get GTA 5 on PS3? Because I'm debating between Xbox and PS3 if I want to play with somebody else.
Probably gonna get. If I, here's the.
Are we going to be able to wait for PC?
Exactly.
I am.
I'm not going to wait. I'm going to get it, and then I'll get it on both. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it on both.
Because my mom is rich.
Yes, Joel, to answer your question, yeah, I'm gonna get it on PS3.
Okay, so I might get it on that then.
I don't know if I'm gonna get it immediately. But I'll be
2 weeks away.
I'll probably get it pretty much as soon as it comes out.
Well, you can see it when we are hanging out at the beach.
Yeah.
Because I'll be getting it that week.
Because that's the number one thing to do on a beach vacation.
Not in a creepy way like me and Skinner are going to the beach, just us alone.
Dave's coming
play
too.
GTA 5 together.
Just a little getaway trip to play some Grand Theft Auto.
It's a work trip for me.
I can say with certainty that I will not be buying GTA 5 for my PS3. I've already decided that won't be happening.
All right. I will say now that the Division is confirmed for the PS4 or for the PC, I don't know if I'm getting a PS4 anytime soon.
Oh snap!
Because the big things I was interested in, I mean, the Division was certainly one of them, and it's coming to the PC. I probably still will want to get a PS4 at some point, but I might
Uncharted 4 is going to come out.
Yeah, it might. Uncharted 4 might be what does it. But I think I'll wait on a PS4. I mean, I have to wait now. They've sold over 1 million pre-orders already, which there's no way they're going to be able to fulfill all of those. So I'm betting that the PS4 is going to be sold out until March, or it's going to be very hard to get one till March.
Yeah.
I should have pre-ordered one just to sell. I thought about it, and I was like, I don't want to spend the money.
You should have when GameStop had that really good trade-in sale.
Joel, GameStop does not have really good trade-in sales. Really
they
good
actually
means
did.
less than half of what eBay will give you.
If you want to sell through eBay, yeah, then go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make money or whatever.
I've had nothing good come from eBay ever.
I mean, GameStop had to we'll double it and give you a nickel for your game, but
In case you guys don't realize, Joel's a regular victim of GameStop.
I know
I have not had one problem. For me, I like perusing and looking at my games than on a digital software thing only.
A trailer does
way
far
better.
more
With
for
guys.
me.
See, I go in there and I talk with the guys. I know the people
Why
there.
would
They're
you
really
do
cool.
that?
Because I've known them for like 5 years. They went to a church of mine before, and
That's because you're a sucker, Joel. So you can see a sucker from a mile away.
I'm just not elitist like you guys are.
Here's that guy bringing in his PS3. We'll give him $11. Woo! We're doubling it to 22.
And a coupon that you can only spend here in our store.
Hey, well, at least you actually can trade back your games, unlike Steam. So you're kind of
And Steam,
screwed.
you get them so cheap that it doesn't matter.
How I want to trade my $5
Hey,
games.
you know what? Okay, the whole hey, PC's so much cheaper. It's not cheaper. It's only cheaper if you wait a freaking year.
Just
So
if you stay
you're,
just,
if you're okay
6
with
months.
but if you
just
wait
stay
a
behind
year,
the curve a little. Stay
You
behind
can wait
the curve.
like a month
But-
and get it for $30.
no, not
Yes.
on the game. $30.
Bioshock
No,
Infinite was
crappy
$30.
games.
Yeah,
Crappy games
Bioshock
for $30.
Infinite was $16 the other day.
Hey,
And-
guess what? Guess what? The same time as $30, you could get it on console for $30. So
Joel,
What?
Bioshock Infinite, 1 month after release, was $29.99 on PC. 1 month.
It was the same on console as well. I found it too. Yeah, I found a deal. It was on Amazon as well, so I don't want to hear it.
Was it
Denial,
used?
everyone. Behold, denial.
I'm not denying. I'm saying like you can find deals on console stuff too.
For sure.
Not
Just
nearly
not
as
as
good of
good.
deals. Joel, Humble Bundle.
Well, there.
I can't drop the mic. The mic is attached
Okay,
to my
the
desk.
PC
but
I'm spending is I'm gonna spend complete $1,400.
That's your
No,
fault.
$1,400 plus $300. No,
That's
$200
your
more.
fault. For
That's because you
$600,
keep
saying,
saying, Joel, you want to beat my PC.
for
when that's your goal to-
$600, you could build a computer that will keep you for like the next 5 years with most games.
That is complete bullcrap.
No, it is not.
That is complete
Chris.
bullcrap. Yeah, if you wanted to go for under 30 frames, yeah.
Chris,
definitely.
it was 2011 when you upgraded from an Athlon dual core and an 8800 GT, right?
Oh, man.
Those are 2006 parts, aren't they?
I'm just ruffling
Yes,
you guys'
they
feathers.
are.
I don't
All
really
right,
even
hey
care.
Chris, you could play pretty much everything, couldn't you?
I could. Yep.
All
Actually,
right.
I have
that's kind of terrifying.
It's amazing. Like if you're willing to run things at mid spec, which still looks better than consoles.
And my question
does.
is there any PC person that is willing to do that?
Yes, there are
Yeah,
lots.
Joel makes a good point. We don't have the
Just
willpower
saying.
the last
No,
5
you
years.
don't. You don't. I
We
got
are
an
all
upgraded video
now-
card.
In our
Yeah, well-
20s with little commitment and have spare income.
Yeah, that's true.
When we were in college, it worked just fine, and I still ran games on mostly high settings until later on.
All right, hold on. I'm bringing up the Steam hardware survey because Joel, there's actually some interesting stuff in here.
Yes,
is there?
that's yep.
There is.
Say most users are using iPhones now.
The most
That's what I
people
heard.
have a dual core. The average GPU or the most popular single GPU is an Intel HD 3000. But
I don't
that's
know
only
what that
with-
is.
It's integrated into
Ugh.
Sandy Bridge. That's mostly gonna be laptops and stuff taken up. But these are people who have Steam and use Steam and participated in the survey. 1080p is the most common resolution. Video RAM, most common is 1 gigabyte. So that's like a couple generations of video card old. Most common processors, like the most popular, are dual cores. Almost 50% of people using Steam still only have a dual core. Most of them only have 250 to 500 gigs of hard drive space. Like it's
Whoa.
yeah.
What's that like?
Yeah, we are the elite, and I mean the ARMA
Yeah,
playing
you are.
community.
The
most-
PC community is going down. It is every year.
No,
no,
it's not.
It is. Have you not read the news? I'm not talking about
Citations,
PC
please.
gaming. Not PC gaming.
Citations, please.
PC
It
gaming
depends.
is the only reason
It
computers.
depends.
PC
are
sales. All the PC gamers like us build.
I know that's what I'm saying.
But
But same
PC
sales.
it's a
That's
made
a
up
huge deal.
it's a made up
No,
metric
because
though.
PC gaming continues to grow.
It's a made up metric though, because
It'll stay
they
at
say-
separate little cores,
Oh,
my
boy.
friend.
They say PCs are declining in sales, but ultrabooks
Hopeless.
are going up. Tablets are going up. A tablet is a computer, okay? It's a computer in a different form factor. And there are
Okay, so my watch is a computer because it has computer parts in it. So Just saying. You know what I'm talking. I'm not talking iPads. I'm talking actually desktop computers. Like
Okay,
build,
but
I know
yes,
the most
desktop
people that
computers
build
might be
their
going
own.
but the most popular graphics card is an integrated graphics chip on dual core processors. That's
For
the most popular
now.
thing.
I said
Right,
for now.
that's laptop quality stuff.
So you're
Like,
saying the
that's-
5 years of decline means nothing? You don't think that has anything to do with
I
maybe
think the market's just changing.
iPads?
There are more computers than ever before, and the people who sold their computer to buy an iPad weren't doing that much PC gaming anymore.
No, I'm saying PC gaming is going good. They'll always keep going for a very, very long time. But I'm saying PCs in general, no, they are declining. So the gaming
interesting-
the way we've known them is changing. I don't think they're declining.
The
More and more
overall
people
sales
have
decline
computers.
actually means that the percentage of PC gamers is actually going up because more and more it's the PC gamers that are continuing
But
to do like the
PC
full
users
builds.
in general are going down. PC users in general. Sorry.
Oh,
they're-
yeah,
they're
yeah,
facts.
that's
They're branching out instead. Like it's
Yeah.
changing. The market's changing. The definition of what's a computer and what isn't is
So
more
I'm saying
fluid
desktop computers, like the main things you go and buy at Best Buy that have crappy software
now.
on
If
it,
you
have
buy 'em at
viruses.
Best Buy, that's your.
That's what I'm
fault.
saying.
Joel,
That's what I'm
you
saying.
at Best Buy and GameStop.
I don't
just
like.
saying,
There's a better way to live, Joel.
Yes, PC
not saying-
desktop PC sales.
I
have
know
been
how to
down.
buy a computer. I'm not talking about me. I'm
Do
talking
you?
about other
As far
people.
as I know,
Yes,
you
I
just
do.
run to your friends and like,
Oh,
here, I just want
boy.
something better than Dave.
Okay, I could build my own computer if I wanted to, but
I just don't want to.
No,
I can also be. I can totally be in the NFL if I wanted to. If I
No.
would, it's like people saying, "I'm really, really smart. I'm just kind of lazy."
Hey, I've built every single one of my PCs except for the last one and then this one. I could build it. It's just that I'm not up to speed as much as you guys now for the last.
Okay.
How
Like,
many have you had?
I've built 4 on my own. I
That's
built my
pretty
first
good.
PC
Must
from
have started
'98,
young.
and then a Windows 2000 computer, then a '98. And
You
then,
built a Windows 2000.
I'm sorry, a '98, then a 2000. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, I wish
and
I
then,
could give you a hug. That's terrible.
Then a Windows XP, yeah, a Windows XP, and then crappy Vista, and then on. But I haven't stayed up to. I don't know the current.
It is a lot to
motherboards.
stay up to date with.
Yeah, it is.
Which,
it is a
you know,
lot.
Joel, after we build yours, you're gonna be right caught up again. Like it's gonna be.
It's only
pretty
got
easy.
No, I won't, because I'm just gonna close my ears and close my eyes.
You
Close
got
my
to stay
ears.
awake
Wait for the magic to
benchmarking.
happen.
You got to stay awake for the benchmarking and overclocking.
Do you guys want to have a party? You can come over to my house. Woo!
It's a little bit of a drive. I'm
Come on,
probably going to say
you're nerdy
no.
enough. Come on.
Get a plane ticket, Chris.
I'm not
Just
saying-
airdrop in.
I'm not saying I don't
Yes,
want
to build Joel's computer and sit there as Jeremiah tries to shove his hands into the case.
You know
and
what we
gets
should
cut.
do? We should do a Casual Shenanigans podcast live video feed. That's what we should do.
Of the building of your computer.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of awesome, actually.
And then also
We
release
could.
it as a podcast.
It would be
So it's
comedy.
just quiet.
That sounds
Alright.
kind of awesome.
Before we go today, we have a listener question.
And then I have one final thing too.
Okay. All
And then I
right.
have a Gatorade to drink.
I have a tech question. I constantly move a lot, and I have 2 tech questions. What's a good desktop for about $1,200 pre-made for Australians? And what's a good gaming laptop for $1,500 also for Australians? All right, so here's the deal. I don't know anything about PCs for Australians. So I'm Googling that, but I can help you in general, but I need to... You're saying $1,500. I'm assuming that's Australian money, which, as I understand, that's worth more than American money. I could be wrong, but
Any listeners have ideas for this guy? Please help us out.
I'm just going to give you general advice on the computer itself. So let me see. In Australia, you have Puget, which sucks. Main Gear does ship to Australia. And let me see. They've got some good ones if you go to their website.
Website.
I'm looking for the name of the actual desktop. Main Gear in general is good. I think the Main Gear Potenza would probably be your best bet. You just have to get it configured however you want. But Digital Storm also ships to Australia, so Digital Storm would be good. You can get those like 3570Ks, GTX 670s.
What about that Super Mega 9000 computer we talked about a few weeks ago?
I don't think CyberPower PC could ship overseas. It would probably die.
And you would not want them to.
But yeah, I would look at Digital Storm and Main Gear and just buy whatever the best is for your budget. Unfortunately, since I'm in America, I can't access the same prices you can unless I'm Googling other people talking about them. As far as laptops, I would start at exoticpc.com, XOTICPC.com. I don't know if they ship to Australia or not, but they probably do. But they sell Clevo. Clevo makes gaming laptops and sells them under several different brand names. The most popular brand name is Sager. And if you're thinking
Clevos
gaming laptop,
great.
yeah, if you're thinking, is yours a Clevo?
It is. It actually is a Clevo, yeah.
If you're thinking about like gaming laptops as like being those really ugly Alienwares with the lights and fins and vents all over them, or like the Asus ROG ones that look like a fighter jet that's like weighs 13 pounds, Sager laptops or Clevos are not like that. They are fairly boring looking. I mean, they're pretty standard and kind of boring looking, but they have really good specs. And I'm looking, you should be able to get one with a GTX like 770M and
Nice.
i7 and 8 gigs of memory. Now 770M is not as good as a regular GTX 770. That's unfortunate.
Right.
But
For mobile,
you know,
that's pretty awesome, though.
in your price range, you should be getting at least an i5 3570K or the mobile equivalent, and you should be getting at least a GTX 670. If you can pull that off, buy from Main Gear, Digital Storm, or Exotic PC. Those are all good places to start. Unfortunately, like I can't give you a lot more information about Australia. Just because I can only find out information like by Googling it. I can't actually go look at what people are selling in Australia without doing some browser hack stuff that I don't, not hacks, but modifying the browser to make it think I'm in Australia. So
As far as looks go,
but I would start
I would
there.
Yeah, do some shopping around because some of the Clevos do look pretty great. The one that I bought in 2006 actually was a very neat, like, business-looking gaming laptop where the lid was an actual sheet of brushed aluminum that looked really, really professional. I love the look of my laptop.
I mean, it looks nice. It's not like they're not flashy. They're
which is actually exactly what I wanted. I was
Yeah.
I do not want glowing LEDs and alien heads everywhere
in cheap plastic.
or glowing apples.
Yeah, I'd start there. Just start there, see where it gets you. If you have any like questions about specific specs when you're comparison shopping, let us know. We'll happily help you.
Yeah.
I only have one friend who's bought from Exotic PC, but they've got a very good reputation. And anecdotally, the friend I have who bought from them is very happy with his computer still a year later. But
Happy together, a married couple from Exotic PC. That sounds nice.
You're tired, aren't you, Joel? You sound tired.
No, I am like completely spunky right now.
All right. Well, before we go, I believe Dave has something for us. He says he
we
does.
talked last week about the destruction coming up in Battlefield 4 and how it's changed from Battlefield 3, and it's kind of going back to that large-scale ridiculousness of Bad Company 2. I've got a little GIF here for you guys. I just want to get some opinions.
All right. Is this real? That's my first question.
Okay, let me describe it for you. DICE is doing a video series where they have players who have actually played the beta test describe a Battlefield moment. Those are the moments in this series that everyone always talks about, like the water cooler moments where, you know, I was going to knife this guy and then a helicopter fell out of the sky on fire and smashed him to the ground.
Right.
So I knifed the co-pilot instead, you know, stuff like that. Just crazy over-the-top awesomeness. This moment, apparently this guy was going in for a knife kill. He's going to smash the window of this row of shops on the Siege of Shanghai map in Battlefield 4. And I believe it's a friendly tank is like following him, but it plows through the end of the row of stores and proceeds to follow him through all the shops. He's going through the doorways. The tank behind him is just smashing through walls and displays. And DICE takes these Battlefield moment stories and then goes back and recreates them with the spectator mode and records like a cool no UI video to help, I guess, illustrate the description of the Battlefield moment. So this is a recreation, but it is actually in game, in engine, and it's an actual thing that you're looking at here in the game. So
It looks really good.
Here's the GIF. What do you guys think of this?
Unfortunately,
great.
we can't post it. We maybe post it in the description of the video, but we can't post it in the comment right now. So sorry,
Yeah,
everybody.
if you
who's
guys go
watching
to the
live.
official DICE Battlefield 4 channel, it's one of the Battlefield moment videos there. It should be pretty easy to find.
I'm watching it.
But yeah, so this is real then, because that was my first question.
This is in-game during an actual multiplayer test with spectator mode.
That's really cool. I'm gonna say that's really cool.
Is this not something you could do in Battlefield 3? Because I thought you could.
No, you can't drive like they're driving through multiple buildings with a tank. You can crash into a building with a tank.
Yeah, most of the larger buildings in Battlefield 3 did not have any kind of real destructible surface. Maybe like a corner could fall off or something like that.
But not like Bad Company 2.
No.
Okay,
and in this
got it.
case, if you look carefully, it is kind of canned. You can tell that there are walls set up here that are meant to be destroyed, but still, it's all of the walls, like all the way through, are meant to be destroyed. Like it has
It's probably
that capability.
everything but the corner support columns, I'm guessing.
Exactly. And besides the main wall falling out, there's also a lot of like small debris and chunks of concrete flying around that actually have physics, and that's an increase from Battlefield 3 as well. But what do you guys think, looking at it?
I think it looks really awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Chris is being awfully
Chris,
silent.
Chris is in
I
stunned
know
silence
it.
over there.
Yeah, it looks cool. I just don't want to be terribly repetitive.
Yeah, so there's the Battlefield 4 destruction that you guys can't see right now, that we're all
Yeah.
enjoying without you.
Good radio, good radio. That's going to be the podcast for this week. As always, tweet at us at Casual Shenanigans. If you want to be part of the show, write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, Evil Viking, JERMgaming, Boundless MP, and YouTube.
And join us next week for more arguing about hardware.
Probably. Evil Viking 13 and JERMgaming and Boundless MP on YouTube. Chris, you need to get something that people can follow you with.
Maybe.
His
Or-
grandmother has a Twitter.
And here's Chris's home address, so you can stalk him outside his house.
I wouldn't do that. If there's anyone I wouldn't stalk, it'd be Chris.
Follow Chris in real life, but don't.
Please don't.
Oh gosh, that was a little scary.
Tread lightly. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Have an awesome week, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Later,
See you guys.
guys.